Are you jealous because your ex-partner has moved on with their life? They're in a relationship with somebody else. I know it's a really hard pill to swallow, but when you have some understanding of it, you can really let go. Hi, my name is Michele Paradise. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, where I bring evidence-based information coupled with my own personal experiences to help you navigate the most challenging relationships in your life, especially the one with yourself. So let's get started. First thing is, let us acknowledge that feeling jealous is natural. It's absolutely natural. It's a human emotion, and there's no shame in feeling it. It's okay to feel hurt, confused, or even angry. And anger can be very healthy. You have to find ways to let out this anger in a healthy way. And I will mention that later when we get to the sort of how we can do things. These emotions are part of the healing process. And there will actually be grief. And I would like you to acknowledge that. And if you've ever experienced grief in any situation, you will know that it's not linear. You can deny that it happened. You can then get angry. Then you think, well, the anger's over. I moved on to the next one. And there comes the anger again. There comes the denial again. So it's not linear. And I really want you to know that. Why do we feel jealous? That's the question. Often it stems from a sense of loss, as I said, grief and comparison. We might think, why are they happy with somebody else? Wasn't I good enough? What does that person have that I didn't have? There's something wrong with me. I need to work harder, try harder. And it usually comes down to, in this comparison, is I am not enough. I hear this all the time. So it's important to realize that this line of thinking isn't productive. However, it's a very natural part of the grieving process. So I want you to allow yourself to sit with these thoughts, not push them away, because that's not going to help you. And let's change some of the perspectives around there. Consider that your ex-partner is a customer and they are looking for a new supplier. Maybe they build houses or whatever, and they buy their supplies from one organization, and they no longer feel that that organization is fulfilling their needs. So they go to a new place and they buy different things or better things or things that cost less money in their mind. That's what they believe. But what has happened is they haven't changed. They've changed the supplier, but they haven't changed. So the narc has not changed, just the supplier has changed. So they will have the same qualities, the same habits, the same flaws they had when they were with you. They will still lie. They will still be delusional. They will still be grandiose, perhaps, or feel like they're always the victim. None of that changes because remember, they don't change. And they're never happy because they weren't happy with you. And that has very little to do with you and a lot to do with their inability to love and to connect. So what has actually changed in their relationship with somebody new, whether this is man or woman, is the source of emotional supply. And we all know how that is. We all can remember getting into new relationships, I'm sure, and the excitement of it and learning about the person, and everything seems new. Sometimes you walk down the street and you see colors differently, you hear sounds differently because you're really wrapped up in this wonderful feeling, this download of endorphins that you are in love or certainly in lust. Okay. And that's what the narc is looking for again and again and again. And I always have my trusty little piece of paper on my desk. Remember, this is the narc. This is the supply wheel, and you and I and everybody else in their lives are just spokes on the wheel. And they go around and around. Some of us drop off. Thankfully, some of us drop off because we've had enough and we move on, thankfully. By understanding that your ex hasn't transformed into a different, loving, kind person, can help you let go of comparing yourself to their new partner. They've just found somebody new to meet their needs. And I promise you, that is not a reflection of you and your worth at all. It is a reflection of their consistent, insatiable need to be supplied. And as you remember, that's supply, sex, service, and safety. One of those four things. And I have a video on that, which we will put in the notes. So we will highlight that if you want to look at that. That will help you understand that concept even more. So instead of focusing on what your ex is doing, redirect that energy towards yourself. This is now your time. This is now your opportunity to grow, to heal, and to become the best version of yourself. Engage in activities that bring you joy. Invest in your passions. I know that you probably don't feel like it. You may see pictures on Facebook of them. You may have friends that are inadvertently telling you things, and your mind is just whirring with, I bet they're so much happier. And look, they have this great life, but they don't, because I've been there. My narc, during our marriage, had 3 full affairs, 2 years each, that I know about, which I've mentioned before, and ended in the birth of children in each one of those. But that's not what this is about. He was never happy. Of all those women, no one could satisfy him. And it's interesting because his pattern was that he did about 2 years, and as soon as they got pregnant and had a child, he was out. Okay? Because that's not what he signed up for. So I'm telling you from the inside out what this looks like. It really is a fact that they will never be happy. It's not possible. They're not wired for that. They lost that in their development when, for whatever reason, their caregivers, their family were not able to attune to them in the way that they needed to attune to them, or they were treated as the golden child and everything they did was right and nothing was wrong. So of course they go out into the world believing that to be the truth. So what you can do is surround yourself with supportive people. It's really important to do that. If you can afford therapy or some sort of counseling, please do that as well, because that has saved my life. It really has. I mean, I started to do this work 20 years ago as a result of the ending of my marriage. And that helped me on my healing journey and also has helped others. And I will continue to be on my healing journey for the rest of my life. That doesn't mean it's as difficult as it was in the beginning or as big and profound. It's so much easier now. And healing looks like building resilience and getting over things much more quickly. So when I have to speak to him, I'm in a much better state. So here's some other practical steps that you can take to overcome the jealousy. Really acknowledge your feelings. Do not suppress your emotions. If you want to journal about them, that's a really good thing. You can also talk to friends about it, but please be careful with that because, not everybody is there for you. They're there for themselves sometimes. They are hearing you and filtering it through their own needs and their own desires. And what we really want at a moment like that is just to be heard, not to be fixed. So choose the people very carefully that you decide to talk to about these things. Limit social media interactions. Don't obsess over your ex's new life. It's okay to unfollow or mute them for a while. Give yourself some time. Focus on your life. Set some new goals and pursue activities that make you happy. Seek support if needed. As I said, talk to a therapist if you can afford it, Um, you know, professional people are great. Also, they're, great friends. Sometimes our mothers and our fathers can be really, really very helpful at a time like this because they know a lot more than we think they know. And even if it hasn't happened to them, they may have friends, family members that things like that have happened to. Really focus on the positive things in your life. Gratitude can shift your perspective, absolutely. And I just want to share something with you that came to mind. I dated this narcissist, not my ex-husband. I dated this narcissist for a while, and I had no idea because remember, narcissism is you see it in the rear view mirror, you don't see it in the windscreen, or you just don't see it coming. But when it's past, you can look at it, and it's very, very clear. So I didn't realize he was a narcissist at all, and we had this whirlwind relationship, dating, whatever. And he just suddenly disappeared, ghosted me, everything. I'm not going to go into the story, but this is what was very interesting about the story. So I followed his son on Facebook, not him, because he wasn't that active. And a year or two has passed. I think it was a couple years later, and I saw a picture of him and his son and his son's girlfriend. And the caption read from the son, "At Dad's wedding, a beautiful day." And some people took the words out of my mouth. They wrote underneath, "Where's the bride?" I'm going to leave it there. That's a total narc move, that it would be about them and not about the bride. So already he was devaluing her. And I can just imagine how that went. He really love bombed her, built her up. He was really looking for a lot of supply, which I did not provide. Obviously, he wanted a woman who worked, who cooked, who cleaned, and really doted on him. And I was some of those, but not all of those. So that is the perfect example of what happens when they get into other relationships. They are not what they seem. Absolutely not what they seem. And I cannot tell you how that lifted my spirits and really helped to set me free. So I don't want you to wait for that. I want to run that film forward for you. It will never go well for them. My ex-husband, Narc, is not happy. All these years later, all these years after divorce, all these opportunities he has had to be with another woman or other women, he has taken, but nothing is enough. And nothing will ever be enough for the narc. And that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with their inability to love and connect. Please stay safe, keep well. Thank you very much for following me. As always, hit the subscribe button and look at some of my other videos on narcissism. I'm sure they'll be very helpful to you. See you next time.